Okay, we will get started in a second. I'm not sure if you can tell by everything around me, but we are in a bit of a rainforest at the moment. So if you do see us sweating, don't worry, we're not that nervous. It's more so just that, yeah, we're in a hot climate, I guess, pretty hot and sweaty and humid out here. So we do have a few more people joining, but I will sort of slowly ease into it for now. So just wanted to go on to a bit about what we've been doing recently, what we did last year, a bit of a sneak peek into what's coming up this year. And this is a tagline you'll start to see from us more often, so do it better. So last year we did it better, and yeah, we're continuing that on this year as well. So CommBox, obviously, most of you guys are familiar with this. I know a lot of the end users in here already have CommBox in their school or business. A lot of you guys in the reseller world, distribution world, obviously know our product quite well as well. But you know, some of the main things that we do, we collaborate, we teach, we present, and we communicate. So they're some of the four main things that we're always trying to work on and actually do better. Right, so continue to improve our products, whether it be hardware. You know, hardware is always improving. We would never just leave hardware to just go out of date. And then the software side of things. So huge focus on development the last couple of years and moving forward as well. And we'll touch on that a bit. You have seen some sort of stuff on this before. Some of you might not have seen this video. We are pretty proud of it. We actually found this, dug it up. This is an original video that we used for this product. From memory, I think this is early 80s that we did this. When I say we, I wasn't born. But when CommBox or Video Commander, as it started, really started cranking. So basically, this is where we came from. What was Video Commander? It was a way to distribute video to the classroom from a shared location like a library. So obviously back then, this is pretty groundbreaking stuff. We actually have one of the remotes, one of the original remotes for this as well. You've seen me hold it up before, actually. The other cool thing in here is Therese, one of our owners, is actually in this video right there. So that's Therese back in the 80s, which is pretty cool. We are an OEM manufacturer as well. You know, we've designed for much bigger brands than ourselves. A couple that come to mind, HPM and AKI. So HPM do all the wall sockets, PowerPoints and things like that. You've probably seen their devices loads. And then AKI as well was a Japanese projector company. We actually did similar things for them both, which was control products, which again is where we started back in the day. So again, something we're quite proud of. I know you've seen this a few times before, but we have added some new flags there actually. So most of the APAC region, in terms of leaders in the APAC, use CommBox. So that's something we're very proud of. We've got old Scotty from marketing. We've got Singaporean, Fiji, and Cook Islands PMs all using CommBox, which is pretty awesome. We are on the dial. In fact, not just in Australia now, but also in Indonesia. So that's probably something that has changed since last time. We are working on a couple other places as well. I'll keep secret for now. But again, this is something we're very proud of. And this goes really into what I want to talk about in terms of our development. So obviously with us being Australian based, it's quite awesome that we can actually listen to feedback from our customers and actually make a change in our product. So I'll tell you a bit about more how we're doing that. But just one example, the Royal, so the Air Force, right? So they're doing a big number of screens coming up this year. And essentially what we did was an app for them. So we worked with them to create an app to train them in their cadets classrooms. So again, something we're very proud of there. Next up, okay, so what did we do last year and what's really continuing forward for us this year? So CommBox Manage, obviously that's what we're going to be focusing on today. So I won't go into too much detail on that one yet. Don't want to spoil anything. Air Server, that was a big one for us last year. So if you haven't used Air Server before, You may have used another product called ScreenBeam, which uses the same sort of protocol. So think of walking into a meeting room, hitting Windows K on your laptop, and being able to connect your device to the screen wirelessly with two-way touch. Now, the great thing for this one as well is that when it comes to PC, you don't have to be on the same Wi-Fi network. So it's great for the corporates. Simply walk in, Windows K, and connect. It means you don't have to give out your password, your Wi-Fi details to everyone coming in that wants to present. Next up, CommBox Crew. Again, something that's we're very proud of. Essentially, what we've got in the CommBox Crew is educators and technical people from everywhere in teaching and corporate. So whether it's primary school, early childhood, senior, Catholic, Christian, private, independent, government, and so on. So one teacher from all of those sort of different places come together in a CommBox Crew. They're teachers that are using CommBox, so we can ask them, what do you like about CommBox? What do you not like? What do you want to see added? What's a big focus for you moving forward? So we've got a lot of that feedback, and from there, again, we're able to actually use it to make a change. So it's something quite awesome, and yeah, really no one else can say they're doing in the interactive space in Australia. Next up, the live chat feature. You've seen me point this out a few times. But again, going through that training link on the home screen and able to just simply message our whole support team straight away. The buyback program, again, something I have spoken about before, but just a quick overview. Essentially, the buyback program is about how to speed up the sales cycle maybe, or how to get schools to get all they can to put towards the next AV rollout. So if you think about, let's say it's a school or a business, they've got 10 touchscreens, they're all different brands. They've been in there for about 5 years. They really want to refresh everything, have everything the same, go to CommBox, and then basically we can give them a quote based on what they have. So how old is the screen and what sort of condition is it in and what brand is it? We can give you a quote. And essentially, when it comes to CommBox installation, our installers will go in, take that old stuff off the wall. The guys will come pick it up. They'll sell it. It's an Indigenous company, so all proceeds go back into the community and to education. They're a not-for-profit. So it's a great story for everyone. Really helpful, helps the schools out a lot. You know, subsidies, it could be for up to $500 a panel we've had in the past. New signage features. So we actually do have a signage webinar coming up later today. That one's at 2 o'clock Sydney time. So if you do want to find out more, please join us then. Simply head to our LinkedIn if you haven't seen the invite for that, and you'll be able to find it on our LinkedIn page. A couple other things that we did big last year, the RAG contract. So that was the rural access gap. So essentially, we won a proof of concept, which was a few hundred screens, or I think it's about 600 screens going into schools in rural New South Wales, essentially to bridge the gap between the difference between rural and metro in terms of technology in the classroom. So that was a big one for us. We've got a lot coming up with that. We've also got all of government contracts. So if you look at what contracts we're on pretty much every one in Australia now. And we're also on the New Zealand and Indonesian all of government contracts. So a bit of a sneak peek of what's coming in terms of our development. So again, this is a bit of a sneak peek. So basically bridging the gap between Windows and Android and making everything super easy, nice to use, but also customizable. So for example, you'll have your set icons just like you do on the home screen now. But if you're a teacher or a presenter and you want to actually go into a bit more detail, you have apps that you regularly use, and you want to set them up as quick, easy from the home page, that's something you'll be able to do as well. So yeah, a bit of a teaser for you there. Now, something I will mention is we are doing a few questions at the end. So we do have a few prizes to give away. We're going to show it again. One of our new apps that development has just published recently. So please pay attention to what we're showing you, and maybe that's a bit of a hint too. But the CommBox Studio, that's the room that we're in now, and that's where we're doing a bit of training. So again, the end user side of things, post-sales, if you will. In terms of customer success, it was a big one for us last year. So we've got a customer success team at CommBox. So customer success is there to help you guys, help the end users, help the resellers in terms of training. We'll actually reach out to the school or to the corporate business or government, whoever it is, and say, hey, what are you using now? What do you want to continue to use on the CommBox? What software, what PC, Mac, that sort of thing, Google, Office 365. And then that way we can actually tailor the training session towards you as well. Okay, so what we're going to do now is get into a bit of CommBox Manage. So I'm going to invite Sean into the room. And Sean is who looks after Manage for us in terms of training. So what I just said there, the customer success, Sean runs all the training sessions with Manage. So if you do want to go, or some of your customers end up going into a bit more detailed training, Sean's the one who will be running that. Okay, so just to start off with, Sean, could you tell me a bit about Manage and what it is?
Yeah, so Manage is our new cloud-based software that we can use to control, deploy, remotely connect, and just manage all of your CommBox devices and any other devices. So you have a phone, iPad, computer, whatever you got, we can control it.
Awesome. And could you give me a few examples? Like, what can you do with it?
Yeah, so if you want some apps on your screens like Vivi or something like that, you can deploy Vivi to all your screens at once without having to do it manually. You can remotely connect to it like you could do on a computer with TeamViewer. You can change the wallpaper, you can deploy settings, you can tell them to turn on in the morning, turn off at the end of the day. There's like very little limit to what you can do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, sounds like we're going to have a bit to run through. So we will be showing you guys some demonstrations and a few things. We'll send messages and stuff like that to the screen. Before we do that, Sean, what do you really love about it? What helps you with Manage?
Yeah, so Pete, the thing I love the most about Manage is how easy it is to get devices enrolled into it. So it takes less than a minute.
Awesome.
And just the remote control access of it. So I can hop into any screen in the country, international, anywhere, have a look at it, play around with it, interact with it. So it's not just me looking at the screen, I can actually change settings and control it myself. So if someone calls us up and says, hey, I've got an issue with my CommBox, I can just jump in straight away and have a look and do all the heavy lifting without having to interpret through the phone.
Yeah, awesome.
So
that must save a bit of communication.
Save a bit of communication, a lot of time, and it's a good feature to show off to our customers as well.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
And look, as everyone on the calls knows, usually when it comes to hardware, right, it's not the hardware at fault, it's the person in front of it. So yeah, remoting into it definitely helps to get rid of that. Awesome. So what we'll do in a second, guys, is go into a bit of a shared screen, and Sean will show you a few demonstrations. So could you start off with, in terms of, say, a school or a corporate organization has a big CommBox rollout coming soon?
Yeah.
How would Manage impact that?
So Manage will take all the minute details out of it. So once the panel's hung on the wall and connected to the network, come along, enroll it into Manage, which takes less than a minute. And then from there, they can come back to their computer at home or at the office or out and about and change the wallpaper, set up all the settings, set up Wake on LAN, change the wallpaper, deploy all the apps that the staff want, and also setting up things like emergency evacuation, notices, things like that, all with a few clicks of the button to all the screens at once, or a specific group of them, or single screens. So it takes all the work and the geography of going to each different classroom or office space or meeting room. You can do it all remotely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. And we do have one of our first questions in there. So currently CommBox Manage is just on the Classic. Development is working on to getting it onto the displays. We're not exactly sure when that will happen yet. So for now, we're just focusing on the interactive side of things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the spotlight onto Sean's screen. So Sean can actually start to show us a few of the things we're talking about as well. Okay, awesome. So everyone should be able to see Sean's screen on there. Is that right? I think so.
All right, Pete. So what I'll show you first is just a quick overview of the dashboard. So this is the main console for CommBox Manage. So when you log into your web account, this is where you'll come to get a few stats on the home page there. You come along to the first one at the top, devices. And this is basically all the devices on your account. It's all live information. It gives you a whole bunch of extra information as well, like IP addresses, MAC addresses, what network the devices are connected to. So you can all gather that information remotely. And what we'll look at is this screen at the top here. So this is the screen next to us, the 98-inch Classic on the wall. It's just been enrolled, so it's showing up as a new device. The tag is new, so I'm going to come in here, change the name. So I'm going to call it the Classic 98-inch. Save that. So that's pretty much the enrollment process of bringing it into Manage. Like we'll log it in on the panel, it pops straight up into our console here. So I've just changed the name so I can see the friendly name for it. And then the other side, we've got the serial number. So that's a bit of asset management as well. You can just marry them up like that and export it as an Excel.
Awesome. So it's quick and easy.
Yeah.
Cool. So next up, could you think of an example? I mean, it sounds like, you know, obviously it's great for an IT manager. Is there anyone else that would use Manage?
Yeah, for sure. Pretty much anyone that interacts with the panel. So like teachers can hop in there if they want to, or admin staff as well. So if they have like a student in a classroom or a person in a meeting room that they want to message quickly, they can hop in here and send a message to the screen that just pops up as a notification saying, hey, Johnny, come to the front office.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What we might actually do is go back live and show that. So if you could just stop sharing your screen.
Stop sharing. Home screen. So clean. Pull up my screen. Say, and I hit confirm, and then so that's giving me a receipt that's actually sent it, and then instantly it's just popped up on the screen. There's like a little notification and just as text like that. So we can either dismiss it just by tapping OK, or we can just tap off the screen like that and it's gone.
Cool.
So it's super easy, just text and then just pick the screen, just click send.
Awesome. So I guess the cool thing about that is if, say, you're in a school or a work environment, you know the room that the person you're after is in, you know, you don't have to send a message to all the screens to get attention of the one person that aren't in those other rooms. So for example, little Johnny is in room 2B in a school. We can just send that message to the one screen. What about an evacuation message? Can we send a message to all screens?
Yeah, for sure, Pete. So you can have you can have as many as you want preloaded. So you can have like evacuation, fire drill, daily notices if you want to, anything you can think of that you want to send to all the screens. You can load that up into the advanced messages library. So what we just did then was a simple message, which is just text, but our advanced messages can have pictures and audio integrated into them as well. So I'm just going to send one to this screen here. I could send it to all the screens in the office, but I'm just going to send it to this one so we don't freak everyone out. So I'm just going to click on it and go advanced message, and I'm going to pick my one I've got loaded up here, click apply, and that's so show me it's just sent. And that's it. So I'm just going to turn that off now. Just by hitting the home button or just tapping on the screen, that just closes the message down. So you can set it up to play it until someone comes and turns it off, or you can set it up by time. So say after 5 minutes, turn it off.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I suppose using what you mentioned before about tags and groups, you could probably just send it to, say, one building. You know, if you had a campus with 10 buildings, just send it to the one that maybe they have to evacuate.
Yeah, for sure. So every screen that comes in, you can group it by however you want to. So you can do it by campus, you can do it by building, you can do it by faculty. It just comes down to how you want to use it. So if you want to deploy like reading eggs to some screens, you're probably only going to want them to go to your like English faculty screens. So you can just go English screens, reading exams, deploy it like that.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
So we might share your screen again and go into, can you do things like control who can send what? So if I was the IT manager, for example, and I wanted some of my staff to be able to do some things, but not everything, is that something we can do?
Yeah, for sure. So you can have as many users as you want on your account. There's no billing or anything like that associated with it. You can see we've already got a couple of people in the office already on our account here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click on Erica. And so we can see she's in here. It's got an email address and her name. She's set up as an admin, but I can also come in here and change her permission. So if I don't want her to have access to billing or sending remote executable commands, or I don't want her to access things remotely. So I just want her to be able to send messages and deploy apps, something like that. I can come in here and customize that, click update, and it's done.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I can also assign, when I'm adding someone in, I can assign them to a specific group. So if I've got multiple campuses, I can just have certain people assigned to that campus, that group, and they won't be able to access any other campuses. Or if you want to do it by faculty or however you want to do it, you can, there's a permission for that.
Awesome. I guess that's really good for businesses as well with multiple locations, especially franchises where maybe the master franchise or the owner wants to be able to control everything and then give them access to just their site.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, cool. Okay, that's great. And in terms of, you mentioned other devices before. So what else can we put this software on?
So we can show you here. Pretty much any operating system. So Android, obviously, our panels, Android phones, Windows computers, iPhones, iPads, Chromebooks, Macs. Anything there, Linux as well. Like anything, pretty much any operating system. You can get an app to put on the screen or the phone or the iPad.
Yep.
And it's ready to go.
So a school or organization could actually manage not just their CommBoxes, but all devices with this software.
CommBoxes, iPads, phones. And even if they've got like another brand screen in there that they used to have and they want to still be able to use CommBox Manage on it, it's a pretty high chance that they can actually get it working in there as well.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Cool. And I guess with that as well, you know, if you had people walking around site, you could even send a message to their phone.
Yeah, for sure. So just like we've sent to the screen before saying, hey, Pete, if the phone's enrolled, it will just pop up as a notification on the phone.
Yeah, awesome.
Like that.
Sweet. Cool. We might pause there for a second, guys, and just open it up to some questions. So if you do have any questions, just drop the questions into the Q&A section. And then Sean will be able to show you how we can achieve that, or you know, if there's anything that you're wondering, any details, anything you want to see in a bit more detail, just let us know. While we wait for some of those questions, Sean, is there anything else feature-wise? So I know you did talk about taking remote control. Maybe you could show us how we do that.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm gonna, I won't show you my screen. Actually, no, what I will. So I'll just go share my screen again. So I've just gone to my device list again. I'm picking the Classic 98 behind me. Just going to click on that screen. This will actually give me a quick overview of it as well. So tell me what apps are installed on it, what network it's on, the internal storage, network information, so IP address and stuff in there we talked about. Get to see the usage of the app. So I can see for this screen, Air Server app's been used for 49 minutes. So with that, if an organization is like subscribed to an app, so something like Vivi, for example, they spent a bit of money on Vivi and they want to make sure that they're getting the most usage out of it, they can come in here, track the usage of it. So we can see if some rooms are using it a lot less than others.
Yeah. Okay.
They can be like, oh, do we need to get training for this? Is it the right for this classroom?
Yeah.
And just make some like management decisions around.
So get data, real data.
Yeah, for
awesome.
Sure. And then over the side here, we've got remote. So I'm going to click on remote and I'm just going to make that full screen window. Oh, have I shared my screen or my window? Sorry.
Yeah.
Share my screen. All right, so I'm just going to go to the home screen here. This full screen. So this is the screen right behind us here. So if I open up the apps list, there's a couple seconds delay, but where I can actually see on my screen. But it's really good for troubleshooting. I can open up, so I'm going to open up the CommBox store there, opening it up. I'm actually clicking on my keyboard and it's passing that through. So I'm going to install ABC News, and I actually want to go back to the home screen and click the home button here. Okay, the whiteboard, the browser, inputs, whatever you could do in front of the screen, Pete, is what you can do behind the keyboard here. And then, so if we want to move over to our OPS, because this is an Android app on the panel at the moment, I'm only going to see Android, the Android input. So if I move over to the OPS, you can see on the screen that there's an OPS connected, but on mine it just goes black.
Yeah, right.
So where we would go from here is get managed onto the OPS, and then we get full control of that.
Yeah, great.
So we can still see that there's a device connected on that input. So for troubleshooting purposes, you can see, oh, look at this, like there's an active source on the OPS. There's definitely something there. So then we'll swap over to that OPS and control it that way.
Perfect. So for the resellers out there, what I'm thinking is with this managed software, if manage is something you're offering as a service, obviously it's great to manage the screen, but you can also actually put it on their device like the OPS if that's what they're using. And that way you can manage that side of things as well. Of course, you could do it the old fashioned way, you know, like something like TeamViewer in, but having the one system, not having to move around just makes it so much easier. And so you mentioned something there before about installing an app.
Yeah.
What if, you know, what if we wanted to install a few apps, or there's a process we wanted to do? Can you, you know, say uninstall this, install this, and then do something else with this and send it to them all?
Yeah, for sure. So for any of the features in Manage, you can build it into a workflow. So you can have, so basically I want to install Vivi. I want to send a message to all the rooms that I've sent it to saying Vivi has just been installed. I'll then send another app. I can send as many apps or many different features as I want
at the same time.
So I can build it into one workflow and just send it, and we'll do 50 apps and we'll send a message.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so 50 apps times however many screens you have.
Yeah.
At the click of a button would save you hours and hours and hours of time.
Absolutely. So what Sean's talking about there, imagine walking around room to room, downloading those apps, go to the next one. If you have 200 rooms on campus, you're going to be there for
and for updates as well. You just build the updates into it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So we do have a few more questions coming through. One thing I want to start with was just if you could go back into some, give us a screen share of those other devices, just what that looks like in terms of the devices, where we can see how many devices are on there.
Oh, so if we go to the options. So basically just like an overview of all the devices on the account.
Yeah.
Sure. So I've gone back to my device list here.
Oh, sorry, on the dashboard?
On the dashboard. Oh, yeah. Cool. Dashboard. You can see just down the bottom here, we've got an OS distribution. So I've got 10 Android devices and 2 Windows devices on there at the moment. And then you can see there's potential for iOS and Chrome as well.
Yeah, right.
And then we'll see at the top, so there's 12 devices total on the account, but only 8 of them active at the moment. So some of them might not be connected to the network, or they might just be turned off.
Okay. Yeah. And it looks like we can even see where all these devices are.
We can see where some of the devices are. So any device has a GPS chip in it, like a phone. Some computers have GPS chips. Our panels don't, because we're not really expecting them to go walkabout.
Yeah, it's
being mounted on the wall.
Yeah.
So you can see we've got the Android phone in there, and that's giving us a coordinate as well. And if I look at the map, it will actually show our office in there. Warriewood. Yeah. Awesome. So you can see that in there. And that's real time.
Cool. So a few other questions that we've got. Is there a hardware link so the evacuation lockdown alerts can be triggered from physical buttons in an admin office? So that kind of goes into another question that was a PA system, for example. So From my understanding, there are API links.
Yeah. So if someone wants a PA like a button to activate that that trigger, you can develop an API with Radix to incorporate a piece of hardware into that.
Yep.
Like we're happy for you guys to work with Radix and do that, but that's not something that CommBox is like. That's not the business we're in.
Yeah, awesome. So just to clarify that there, so Radix FISO is the company that we're partnered with in this. They're basically the gold standard of device management. What we've done is make it a bit easier to use. So CommBoxified it, we like to say. Now, we can make that introduction for you. It's not something we physically set up, but we can certainly introduce you to people to make that happen. Cool. So can you get it on a Pulse device? Great question. No. So again, it's just the Classic. The Pulse and the Classic have a different Android chip in there, so that's why we can make it happen on one screen and not the other. Good question here. We've got monthly, yearly subscription. So from now on, when you get your CommBox Classic, it actually comes in there for free. Now you can add this to your other devices, like we said. So you know, your iOS, your Android, PC, things like that. There is a fee for that. Retail price is about $100. So it's $100 per device or per screen that you want to add it to. And that license is good for 7 years. So you're well and truly covered there. Now, there was something else I was going to mention on that point. If you did have an older version of a Classic, so the one we're showing you here is actually called the Classic V3X. So it's got a USB-C on the front. So pretty much any screen you buy of ours from now will have that USB-C. The older models, so the Classic V3, you can put this on there again for that fee, just because it wasn't built in there originally. So again, about $100 retail price for each CommBox you have. So if you have screens around your school or your organization now, and you want to add this on there, and it's not on there already, you can do that as well. Just get in touch with your reseller on that one, and they can provide you that information. Awesome, covered that one. Awesome. Cool. Looks like we've covered most of the questions. So look, we did say we're going to keep it 45 minutes, so we're pretty on track at the moment. Before we wrap up and go into a few questions, for you guys, so I'm going to be asking you questions and listening to the advisors. Is there anything else you wanted to show us, Sean? Anything that you love about it? Anything that you think is a great feature?
Yeah, well, like we've already looked at the remote access, but I'll just show you. I'll share my screen. I'll just show how easy it is to deploy an app to the screen.
Cool.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to my so these repositories. So these are all like the funky things we can get up to. So like sending messages, packages, etc. I'm gonna open that up here, and you can see I've already got a couple apps loaded in here. And what I'm going to do, so I'm going to see I've got CommBox Signage. I want to actually deploy that to all the screens that I've got. So I'm going to go to my groups, all screens, and I'm going to go install a package, and I'm going to pick CommBox Signage and click apply. And that's just told me it sent it to the devices. So within like 30 seconds to 2 minutes, all my devices will actually have that app installed on them, and I've actually got tracking here. So if I click on it, it'll tell me some of the pending, and then as time goes on, they'll all move over to green as successful.
Awesome, cool.
Yeah.
So you can see it as it's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. And the other thing to add, it's also everything you send, apart from obviously the messages that pop up on the screen, happens in the background. So you can do deployments within school hours while classes are running, while meetings running, without affecting anyone. So it's all silent in the background, apart from sending a message, obviously, because that's the whole purpose of it.
Yeah.
When you remote connect, it's just a mirror. So whatever you do, they can see, and whatever they do, you can see.
Yep.
So same as TeamViewer. Yeah, but everything else is silent in the background, so it's good for deploying stuff without disturbing people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for that. Sweet. So we are pretty much on track, guys, for time. If you do have any more questions, please pop them in that Q&A section. I've got to all of them so far, and I have been keeping an eye on the chat feature as well. Absolutely. I just saw that last question there, Marion. So no problem at all. We can organize a training session with you specifically for the pulse screen that you have. Absolutely. Cool. So what I'm going to go into now, guys, is a bit of a chance to win some prizes. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to use the chat box. So if everyone wants to get in there now and get ready, the way we'll do it is I'll ask you a question, and whoever types the answer in correctly first will get a prize. So how long does it take to enroll a CommBox device into CommBox Manage? You guys are good. Stuart F, you were the first one. Stuart Feld. So Stuart, we'll keep an eye on this chat feature. And yeah, we'll send you a prize. We'll send you a swag pack. So next question. What we'll do is what room are we in? What's the room that we're in called? Jason. Yeah, mate, good stuff. Tropical room, I like that. It's definitely that vibe at the moment, but no, it is called the studio. So well done, Jason, there. And let's see how much attention you were paying to what we put on the screen. So now we might actually have some contention on this one. So we might actually need to share the image again. But where should you shoot a zombie to kill it? Sean, would you be able to share that?
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna turn the volume down.
Yeah, cool.
All right.
Keep in mind, there could be two answers here. Could be.
All right, come up on the screen now.
Yep, you're right. Because, look, I'll be honest, our laptops might have been hiding it, but those other points are not kill points. So you're right. The correct answer is in the head. So, you know, you learn a lot with the CommBox webinar, including how to kill a zombie when it happens, if it happens. And lastly, what we're going to do now is we're going to use a new app that we've got. So we've got an app called the Spinner. And what it does, I'll give you a quick preview of what we can do here. I'll open it up. So you just go into the tools, and then we've got it here, the spinner. So I'll just drag this to the middle of the screen. Now, what we did is we got everyone that was enrolled into the webinar. We got all these names in this list. So we may land on someone that isn't in here at the moment. If we do, I'll spin it again until we land on someone that is in here. So if everyone, or yeah, if you could just let me know in the chat if it lands on you, if you're in here, we'll send you a 43-inch display. We'll also give you a signage trial with that and a signage session so you can learn how to use that signage, which is actually coming up later today as well. So go ahead and spin that now. Oh, here's the volume.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Wayne, are you in here, Michael? Right, it's like you can't hear us again. Michael. Is Michael in the webinar? Dan, that doesn't really work for me, mate. No, it doesn't look like he is. I'll just quickly check that. Sure, I don't want to block someone. It doesn't look like he is.
Yeah, I'll give you my own.
Sorry, guys. Microphone's going flat. Is that? Flat. Okay. Sorry, guys, for that. Can you hear? Yeah, sweet. You can hear me now. That's good. So yeah, look, Michael Lane wasn't in here. Unlucky, mate. But what we'll do is we'll go again, shall we? Let's give that another spin. John, do we have John in here? We've got a John. Got a few Johns. No, again, unlucky. So we'll keep going until we get a winner. Looks like we're going to go again, guys. This is great suspense. I'm really liking this. Stuart Lister, are you on here? What? Hey, Stuart. Well done. Good stuff. Stu, we'll send you a 43-inch display, so we'll get in touch and get your contact details after that one. But yeah, congrats for the winners. Thanks to everyone for coming. I hope we gave you a good overview of what Manage is about. If you would like more information or a bit more of a detailed session, what you can do is head to our training page on our website. So you hit training and then you want to hit, it gives you a list of events that you can choose and you can choose the Manage session. You can go in there, it'll give you a calendar, you can find a time that works for you, and then we can give you a Manage session on it. We can do that for signage. As I mentioned, we do have a signage webinar coming up later today, so please feel free to join us on that one. We'll give away a few more prizes there too. But thanks everyone for joining. Really had fun with this one. I like the chat too. So cheers guys, we'll see you soon.